Hello everyone. This episode continues from the previous one about the chest bag. Last time we completed the main body of the bag. In this video, we will cover its harness, accessories, and the storage systems. If you are new to my channel and would like to learn about the overall making process, you can find the link to the previous video in the description below. Okay, let's begin. Starting with the back panel. I've noticed that most tactical chest bags on the market use mesh fabric for the back panel, with the straps sewn directly onto it. This design is indeed extremely lightweight and offers excellent ventilation. Initially, I also considered using a similar design for my bag, but some new concerns appeared along with that approach. First, with such a design, the panel would serve only as a back panel. When designing the bag, given its size, I also intended it to function as a shoulder bag. So, in shoulder bag mode, this back panel would become completely redundant. Secondly, punching holes on leather does give it some breathability. However, leather is leather, a material hardly associated with ventilation performance. Based on some of my previous projects featuring ventilation holes, they are really more for looks than for function. Therefore, I ditched this idea and looked for another approach. This time, I wanted to create a versatile piece, one that could serve as a back panel in chest bag mode and also transform into a shoulder bag strap pad when switched to shoulder bag mode. In that way, the panel will sit right on the chest. By adding one or two MOLLE straps onto it, I can attach a mini pouch for quick access to small items without having to constantly swing the main bag around. To achieve this kind of versatility, the straps couldn't be fixed. They had to be fully detachable and allow for quick mounting. That's how the design you saw in the last video came about. With this multifunctional panel idea, it would be utilized in every setup. But as you can see from the video, I actually revised the design once more of that version. Because of the weird sea turtle shaped design, it worked fine as a back panel for sure, but it felt too bulky and not sleek enough when used as a shoulder strap pad. I wanted it to be more compact. However, 4 anchor points for the X-shaped harness straps, plus 2 additional horizontal attachment points, along with 1 or 2 MOLLE straps, fitting all the necessary elements into such a small area was not easy. After some careful thinking, the final design ended up looking like this, and I even added an extra vertical MOLLE strap. This episode covers quite a few details because when you step out of your comfort zone, you will always have some struggles along the way. So, thanks a lot for bearing with me. Okay, let's continue. To lift a bag this big with one hand, you need a proper carrying handle. I originally planned to put it here, but later then realized that in this position, the handle sometimes stuck between the bag and my body. Also, if it's too far inwards, it can be hard to grab, especially with gloves. Fortunately, I left plenty of attachment points on this bag, so I moved the handle to the top of the front panel. This position is much easier to grab and also gives better control when closing the panel. Then I wrapped around the cord strands with 2 different colors of paracord, using the one and only knot I know, the cobra knot, and finished it with a... Nah, I'm just kidding. I surely don't know how to tie any fancy stop knots like a monkey's fist or even a diamond knot, so a overhand knot it is. For the harness system, first of all, the webbing. I went with 1.5-inch webbing. Generally, you have three width choices: 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2 inch. Most accessories on the market are sized for 1 inch webbing, simply because it follows the standard MOLLE spacing. But for comfort, though, I decided to use the slightly wider 1.5 inch webbing. Although there are far fewer compatible accessories compared to the 1 inch options, I was still able to find pretty much every piece I need. As for 2-inch webbing, it's mostly used for waist belts on larger backpacks. So there are very few compatible accessories available on the market. For the quick release mechanism, I initially chose this hook-style buckle with a locking ring, but it didn't feel quick enough overall. Then I came across this push-release style, which unlocks faster but takes a few seconds to secure. Still not ideal, especially for the two side straps. I kept searching until I finally found these magnetic buckles. Both releasing and locking happen instantly. And one side even has a built-in adjustable end. Perfect. Now we have everything we need for the harness. Let's put them together. 4 detachable straps mean 8 attachment points in total. Making all 8 ends adjustable simply doesn't make any sense and would leave too many loose ends dangling around. The most practical setup is to make just the 4 front ends adjustable, and keeping the rest 4 rear points clean and simple. When switching to shoulder bag mode, I found that one of the 4 front attachment points always remains connected. To make it easier to distinguish, I used the hook-style buckle at this connection point, while the other 3 use the push-open buckles. On the backside, start by detaching all 4 buckles, then reconnected any 2 diagonal straps from the original X-shaped harness to the 2 horizontal attachment points on the panel. This step depends on which shoulder you prefer to carry the bag on. I usually wear it on my right shoulder, so I kept these 2 straps. In this way, the back panel then becomes a shoulder strap pad. Unlike a chest bag, a shoulder bag in daily use often needs its strap length adjusted frequently. You need to let the bag sit higher when on the back for stability, and loosen it a bit when swinging the bag to the front for easier access. To achieve this quick length change, I felt that a standard adjustable end wasn't fast enough, so I added an extra D-ring above the adjustment bar, creating a quick adjustment mechanism. Once all the buckles are installed in their correct positions, do a final check of the entire harness system. Make sure the straps are long enough to fit over your thickest winter coat, and that all buckles are oriented correctly. Then you can seal the strap ends. The most common method is to fold the end twice and sew it down. However, the webbing I choose this time is particularly heavy duty, and I wasn't sure my home sewing machine could handle 3 layers of thick webbing. So I went with this method, which was easier for me to manage. Since the carrying handle is no longer needed here, this spot was left empty. I found that with a bungee cord and some cord locks on it, it can be a perfect place to secure some long, narrow items like a fishing rod, even one with a reel attached. Once the rod and reel are secured, they don't even interfere with the zipper's operation. When opening the main compartment, I didn't want the front panel to fall straight down. Like most chest bags on the market, I added a restraint cord that goes through 4 anchor points. I also hit the cord lock on the side facing my body, since it doesn't need frequent adjustment. Once you set it to a comfortable angle, it pretty much stays there for good. Next, let's talk about the storage system. If you buy a chest bag or any other kind of bags, this is where the customization journey begins. Honestly, I'm not a pro when it comes to tactical/EDC gear. Many of you watching possibly know way more about it than I do. The way I see it, a chest bag sits right in front of you within easy reach of both hands. Its job is to hold things you reach for often or that must be accessed immediately in some specific situations. So, when planning storage for a chest bag, what matters most is placing things in the right spot and organizing them so they can be taken out and put back easily and naturally. Since I originally planned to use this bag for fishing, I will use fishing as an example to talk about how the storage system functions in this bag. Plan A is to attach everything using straps and snaps, starting with this large size accessory pouch. I will snap it onto the body side interior panel, where I can keep tools and the smaller tackle boxes. The front of this pouch has a loop panel, so I can directly attach this hooked back organizer panel to hold even smaller items. As for the small pouch, I'm thinking of simply mounting it externally, perhaps somewhere on the front panel like this. Plan B is to mount this Velcro panel by fixing its lower edge to the molly strap along the inner bottom of the bag, letting it swing like a hinge. Because the panel itself has both loop and hook side, I can just simply attach the pouch and organizer directly to the matched side of this panel. The idea here is to make it quick to detach, replace, or swap out preloaded pouches with different sets of gear. As for the inside of the front panel, I'm not planning to install any other accessory pouches for now. Maybe later just a few small size tools, but no pouches, because I've found that once it's opened, it actually becomes a pretty stable work surface to work on, like changing lures or tying on a new leader. When switching to shoulder bag, the setup of the main bag remains the same. Maybe the only difference I can tell is the extra attachment point on the shoulder strap pad. For vertical mounting, you can use a single strap style pouch like the small one I mentioned earlier. For horizontal mounting, since I don't have a perfectly fitting pouch on hand right now, any pouch with two backing straps spaced 1.5 inches apart can be mounted here. For demonstration, I will use this waist pouch. However, its webbing isn't actually sized to MOLLE standards, but it still works in this case. You could also use this TT or Tasmanian Tiger 1-liter bottle pouch, which does have standard MOLLE webbing. Though hanging a full 1-liter bottle on the up front probably isn't a good idea. Other than that, I really like this bottle holder itself. The size is just right, the build quality is excellent, and I've used it so much that I ended up buying another one. Then while playing with the attachments on the shoulder strap pad, I suddenly realized this system can also support a 3-point shoulder carry. This keeps the bag much more stable on your back and completely eliminates any front-to-back sway. At this point, considering all the intended functions I had in mind when designing this bag has almost been met. Although there is still plenty of room for improvement, maybe I would just see this project as a reference point for now. There are still areas where more accessories could be added. But honestly, I can't really tell if they will work well or not. We will just have to see how they perform over time. Due to the temperature here, I haven't taken it out for fishing yet. Only used it for commuting a few times, fully loaded of course, and felt pretty good. Once it gets warmer, I guess the first thing I plan to add is a proper-sized ventilation panel. That's why I also included MOLLE straps on the backside. Alright, that brings us to the end of this video. If you are still watching, thank you so much for your support. This project really took a lot of time and effort. Most of it spent on designing and troubleshooting, of course. But more importantly, I learned a lot along the way, especially about blending styles. Combining leather, a material that's been around for centuries, with more advanced design and hardware to create something both functional and tinged with that good old days feel. It felt like stepping into a new world. I will definitely keep working on projects like this. If you enjoy the content on this channel, feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.